Hey everybody, this is Jeff from SkySwitch. Welcome to our partner reseller update webinar with SimpleWan. We got Frank here from SkySwitch, who's going to be on board to answer any SkySwitch specific questions. And we got Josh Hazelhorst here from SimpleWan. He's going to be doing the bulk of the presenting. Please use your, there's a question window in your user interface. If you have any questions, just type them right in there. I'll be looking at them. Frank will be looking at them. It will either respond personally or we'll run it right up there to everyone. So Josh, please take it away. I think if anybody has problems with the interface, please just hit me in the chat window, and I'll be able to help you while these guys talk about the smart stuff. So Josh, the floor is yours. Have a great 30 minutes or so.
Very good, thank you, sir. So, SimpleWan for SkySwitch. Let's kind of talk about SDN, software-defined networking, as well as SD-WAN. As you guys know, you guys are here in the field on a daily basis. SD-WAN, SD-WAN, SD-WAN is one of the hottest techs out there. But what really is it? A lot of people are getting confused out there as far as what it exactly is. So let me define it in the most clearest, simplest terms on the planet. SD-WAN and SDN is very, very simply network automation and management. So some SD-WAN providers or manufacturers will, take a product and consider dual WAN or dual WAN for failover or active-active for failover or something like that. Basically a way to keep connectivity inside my location always up. That is a portion of SD-WAN, absolutely. Same thing with, VPN aggregation. How do I manage multiple VPN clients? That is SD-WAN, absolutely. SD-WAN is really everything. If you ask your customers or your partners, providers, what is SD-WAN, you ask 13 people, you're going to get 13 different answers. So we're going to talk about SimpleWan. SimpleWan is SD-WAN, but it is absolutely everything. In a SimpleWan world, SD-WAN to us is simply a way to connect buildings to buildings. For us, it is, replacing a point-to-point connection or replacing an MPLS connection. That is SD-WAN to us, but that is just the connectivity standpoint. But we also do the SD-everything, which for some other providers is SD-WAN, meaning multiple WAN connections, 4G failover, VPN, LCCP, tunneling of data and flow, management with the orchestration, which we call our dashboard. It's all SD-WAN. So let's talk about SimpleWan as a whole a little bit. And I'm not going to kill anybody by PowerPoint, but we're going to talk about really what it is, what the pitch is, just kind of give everybody an idea of how to easily talk about what SimpleWan is and why it's important. So SimpleWan is a provider of basically SDN, networking solutions to make a IT administrator's job easy. It is literally deploying a gateway that connects to our cloud services and AWS data centers and orchestrates or manages all of those locations in a central pane of glass. So I can open up my dashboard once I have SimpleWans deployed. I can see every single location at just a one screenshot, and I can see all of my network analytics as well as performances of every single one of those locations. I don't have to log into multiple different firewalls or log into multiple different SD-WAN platforms or manage routers or, internet circuits. I can see everything at a glance. That is SDN. So if your customers are talking SD-WAN, if they're talking, cybersecurity, I need to be PCI and HIPAA compliant. I need to be able to have that reportability. I need to see, monthly penetration testing so I can get my network auditors to come in and certify my network so I can be PCI and HIPAA compliant, right? That is a SimpleWan play, or SimpleWan competitors, 3, 4, 5 different appliances and 3, 4, 5 different software applications. So we are the network management tool and the easy deployment. So what they get with SimpleWan is they get everything. They get my firewall. They get my management console. They get my cybersecurity, my content filtering, my network analytics. They get everything in a one little box that replaces 5 big boxes. So the elevator pitch, this is something that your sales reps can talk about. This is really designed not to confuse people, but to bring up what I call prairie dog head. When we're talking SD-WAN, we're talking SimpleWan, we want the IT administrators to ask questions. What is it? What does it solve for my business? Does it cost me money? Does it save me money? Does it make me money? So in this elevator pitch that you're seeing on the screen here, it's really, really easy. We want to get the network admin out of the wiring closet. On Friday at 5 o'clock, we want you to be able to go home and enjoy barbecues with your families. And if there's issues in the network, I can simply remote and look at my dashboard and fix any problem. I don't have to get in the car and drive back to the office. SimpleWan is the provider of this cloud-based networking solution. It is really designed for your retails, your franchise, your box stores. If you walk into a store to go buy something, that's where SimpleWan lives. If you're going into an environment that has, a full IT staff at every location and, triple CCIEs and CISSPs and guys that really, if they see a blinking light, just can't help themselves. They've got to go in there and reconfigure firewall rules. That's not SimpleWan. SimpleWan is built for it's pre-configured, it's drop ship, store manager, plug it in, close the door, and run away. That's where we live. So we make it easy, we make it smooth, and we give that end user all of the complex IT services they need, but really can't deploy, whether it's because of staff or talent. So SimpleWan is the all-in-one networking solution. We are the SD-WAN or the SDN made simple. We're that remote management. And again, what is the definition of SD-WAN or SDN? It's automation. Make my job as an admin easy. Whether it's a circuit standpoint or a failover standpoint or a security standpoint, we've got to make their jobs easy, and that's what SimpleWan does. And if you guys have questions, just put them in chat. I'm not monitoring the chat at this point, but I will when we're done with the presentation here. So target customers. When we're talking target customers, we are talking that multi-location branch franchise. We are talking the Baby Gaps, the Foot Lockers, the Domino's Pizzas, right? Multi-locations, branch franchise environment, restaurant, CPA firms, stuff like that. If you guys are talking SimpleWan to a single location user, on-prem servers and storage, stuff like that, not a SimpleWan fit. If they're looking for SDN technologies, there's other techs that are out there that really fit for that on-prem type of customer. That is not the SimpleWan model. The SimpleWan model are for the models of I do everything in cloud services, but I need all of those on-prem technologies in the cloud. That's SimpleWan. So if your customer's asking about firewalls, cybersecurity, SD-WAN, let's talk to SimpleWan. You're not on your own. Bring us in or your SkySwitch reps, channel managers, or whatnot, and let's have this conversation and make sure that it is the proper use case for this platform. Are they looking for alternatives, to legacy systems? I'm tired of my on-prem firewall. I haven't updated firmware in 3 years. Well, at that point, it's not even a firewall anymore. It's a doorstop. It doesn't do anything. It's now a switch, right? So if you're no longer managing your security standpoints at your locations, we need to be talking about SimpleWan now. And I need to talk about cloud firewalls, right? If they're going, I don't want to manage my routers anymore, or I'm sick of buying the newest, latest, greatest Adtrans or Cisco's, SmartNet contracts, stuff like that. Let's talk SimpleWan. If they're talking about connecting multiple locations, right, for file shares, MSDS sheets, chemical controls, whatever it happens to be, let's talk SimpleWan. There are obviously competitors in this space, and here's where you see it. Point number 5: Cisco, VeloCloud, Acessa, Big Leaf. We recommend these competitors on a daily basis. Again, if I've got on-prem firewalls that I just bought and I'm on contract, but I want to do SD-WAN, well, SonicWall's not going to do SD-WAN for you. It's not in the roadmap, right? So I got to buy an over-the-top SD-WAN play, and that's where these guys play. But if I'm replacing those firewalls, now we're talking SimpleWan. And one of the biggest things is do you have customers that are in distributed environments, that multi-location thing, that simply either don't get it or can't keep up with industry trends? What is the new latest and greatest, cybersecurity patches? What is the latest and greatest unified threat management policy? It's very, very difficult for network admins to keep up with what's going on in the world of technology today. But when you do and deploy a cloud service like a SimpleWan, all those updates, again, SDN, right, automated. Everything happens automatically. Let technology do what it's designed to do and go do your job, Mr. Network Admin. So let's talk about security a little bit, right? SimpleWan at its core is a cloud firewall. We actively monitor all attacks. We have honeypots all over the globe. We didn't invent or reinvent security policies or firewalling. All we did was made it easy for network admins to manage and understand. So we do the same things that Palo Alto, SonicWall, Checkpoint, all these other guys do with our global security policies, with our patch management, all that other stuff. We do all the same thing. We just took it out of the hands of the day-to-day operations kind of guy, where he doesn't have to go track all this information down. From a SkySwitch perspective, we'll talk about clarity, right? Some of you guys are selling it just simply for the voice QoS piece, and that's wonderful. But as you're selling it just for voice QoS to give your customers that high-def phone call, we also need to talk about, security policies and content filtering. Because just because they're buying hosted voice and call clarity from you guys doesn't mean they're not buying firewalls from somebody else. And we don't want to leave money on the table, but more than that, we want to make sure the customer knows the power of what they already have. The connectivity, we, as far as SD-WAN is concerned, we handle that connectivity. We take away that expensive point-to-point connection from the carrier. We take away that expensive and 20-year-old technology MPLS from the carrier. We handle it all on software. So it is more secure, higher bandwidth and throughput, and easier to deploy, but at the end of the day, way, way cheaper than what they're doing today. So we're not just another SD-WAN play. We are the everything. We are the MPLS replacement, the point-to-point replacement, the security replacement, the content filtering replacement. We are the everything for that customer. Some of these SD-WAN players charge for bandwidth and throughput. 20 mega throughput is going to cost you $200 a month. 30 meg is going to cost you $300, and so forth. The SimpleWans do not work that way. The SimpleWans give you an amount of bandwidth. Use what you can use. For example, an Advanced 2 has a capability of up to 480 meg of throughput. That is roughly 300 connected devices. On the roadmap of firmware coming out in Q1, Q2 of this coming year, that bandwidth throughput will be doubled. Some of the newest things that we've done with the latest and greatest firmware is we've added in the active-active for load balancing. We've added in that NAT reflection, so if I do have, on-prem servers that people need remote access to, now we can handle stuff like that. We don't bill for throughput. If you got a customer that needs more than 480 meg, maybe they're coming out of a data center, they just have high volume. We also have a rack mount offering. If they're coming out of a data center, maybe they're a service provider or a content delivery network, right? We have the VM version, so we can load all of the SimpleWan services and solutions into a virtual machine that exists at that customer's data center. And then the throughput is literally limited to whatever their connections and their hardware are. So let's simplify it right there, right? Why SimpleWan? Well, it's really the only way to manage every location that you have globally, right? It's that magic little box that I can literally do a pre-config, drop ship it to a sandwich shop, and the store manager can plug it in and close the door and run away, and we activate all of their security protocols, right? The moves, adds, and changes that need to be done for an MSP, an ISV, a service provider are super, super simple and easy. We have taken away the complexity of the engineering of advanced technology. So that's that piece. I'm going to go ahead and kill this, and I created a document not too long ago that is actually into marketing. I don't know if some of you guys have seen this yet or not. But once it gets through marketing, it's got to get SimpleWanized and colored and all this other stuff. But this is something I created a couple weeks ago, and this really gives resellers and MSPs a really good idea of where does this fit. The biggest thing you don't want to do is shove a technology down, an end user's throat, because that's the tech you're comfortable with, when it's not maybe the right use case, right? So what is it? SimpleWan is a tool set for network admins, MSPs, and hosted providers. It is designed to give you absolutely everything you need from a technology standpoint in an automated, easy-to-manage tool. Where do I put these things? Do I put them in my big customers, Honeywell, Motorola, Intel? No. And the reason why you don't is because they have big iron equipment from a security standpoint, firewalls, content filtering engines, managed routers, MPLS and circuit. That's not a SimpleWan fit. That's your VeloClouds, your Meraki's, and your big leafs. Okay? Is it easy to install? Absolutely. When we're installing larger enterprise environments, maybe it's a derivative of a corporate IT project. They've got 100, if not thousands of locations. The very first install is where SimpleWan goes in and we look at the network topology and we do a template of the configuration that is needed in all these satellite offices. So the first one takes a little bit of legwork from us, the manufacturer. The rest of them are simply drop that config in a template, burn all the devices, and drop ship them out to all the locations. So is it simple to install on a large deployment? Absolutely. But know this, there's no such thing as zero touch. We still have to configure the first one properly. So we need LAN, WAN information, server information, that kind of stuff. So make sure that we are involved up front on the first couple of installs before we start rolling out a big rollout. After that, it's simple. What are the common mistakes? Common mistakes that engineers do, MSPs, integrators, is they see the power of the SimpleWan. They see everything it can do from a network standpoint to a security standpoint, and then they see the cost. And they think to themselves, wow, the gross margins on these things are huge, and the cost to my end user is next to nothing. I'm going to shoehorn this into environments that it doesn't belong. And that project simply failed. They bought the wrong product. If you guys have more questions about that, please reach out to your SkySwitch guy, reach out to myself. We can have those conversations offline of where it really, really fits. But if we're putting this into an existing environment that has an existing firewall, that existing firewall will block my network analytics, which is the whole power of the SDN technology. Okay? How do I teach my staff to do this? So I go get a project, I get hired to do it, we just won the bid, whatever it happens. If you guys are not 100% in depth on doing your own configurations, your own installs, we have added a couple of weeks ago SimpleWan Professional Services. What this does is two things. One, we make sure that that remote install at your customer site goes absolutely perfectly. But two, it's really a training tool. Because you guys, your technicians, are now shadowing my technicians on these installations. You're watching them build firewall config sets, rules, opening and closing ports, VPN tunnels, the whole 9 yards, until you're 100% comfortable doing it yourself. Last thing we want to do is have a failed install because we weren't really up to speed. Again, SimpleWan didn't reinvent the wheel when it comes to networking, but we are a new toolbox. And your technicians need to know where we keep the screwdrivers versus where we keep the wrenches. So it just gives them a better clarity and a better understanding of how to deploy, and then you guys roll out on your own. Now, do you need to be the SimpleWan experts? Does your technicians, do your IT staff need to know this stuff inside and out? Do they need to know everything about network security and firewall rules? No. No. We are the experts in that. So you guys can lean on us at any time. You can go through SkySwitch for their support team. You can go through us on our support team. We are here for all of our resellers at all times. You can call us, you can email us, you can chat us, you can get with your SkySwitch channel manager and get my personal cell phone number and call me at any time. We're here to help you make sure that these projects go smooth and perfectly. So that's that document. And we're almost done here, guys. So here's what's probably the most important thing of this call. Why and what makes SkySwitch and the SimpleWan partnership so important? Well, I'll tell you. So there are other companies that sell SimpleWan. That is absolutely the case. However, there are no companies out there doing a couple of things that SkySwitch is doing, which makes them a huge competitive advantage. SkySwitch has an offering called SD Voice. Again, no different than SDN or SD-WAN. What SD Voice does for your customer is it gives them end-to-end voice encryption. Hugely, hugely important for your HIPAA compliant, even your PCI compliant customers. Even schools, your Goddard schools and your small, satellite schools, Montessori schools, charter schools, all that other stuff. They have to keep their student information secure, which means I cannot talk about a specific student, whether it's a health issue or, images or whatever it happens to be, on an unsecured, unencrypted phone line. This will absolutely be a violation. SkySwitch has voice encryption end-to-end. That is what SDV is. The other thing that SDV is, and this is super, super important, especially for your high call volume customers, or your customers that actually make their money over the phone. If they are on a phone call on a hosted voice platform over shared internet, which, let's face it, 80% of these guys are now, they can't afford to have dropped calls, right? If a call drops and I'm calling, down, my call drops, guess what? I'm calling back. I'm calling, Peter Piper. I'm losing revenue. I'm losing money. So what SD Voice does, allows that call to stay connected during an internet outage. So if my internet fails, I fail over to my secondary WAN connection, 4G connection, that call stays live. So what is SD Voice? End-to-end voice encryption, as well as no dropped calls during a failover. This, for everybody on this call, all your partners, and spread the word, is probably the biggest competitive advantage on the planet when it comes to hosted voice rollout. And with that being said, Jeff and Frank, that is the SimpleWan pitch. So I will hand it back over to you guys.
Sure. We only got one question up right now from Mary, and it says, can you pull edge marks? She has a lot of those and they're already deployed. Can you answer that?
Absolutely. So what an edge mark is designed to do is voice QoS, MikroTik, edge mark. There's a handful of these guys, right? That is really what they're designed to do. They're not designed to do firewalling, right? They're not, and some of them are starting to do SD-WAN as far as connectivity, but they're really built for that. Just give me voice QoS. Where you're going to deploy edge marks and MikroTiks are in environments that have managed routers and or existing firewalls. You're going to continue to use edge marks. Where you're going to put in the SimpleWans to replace that edge mark is when we're replacing that edge mark as well as the firewall. Does that make sense?
Okay. Well, if Mary doesn't respond, then that makes sense, or maybe you can reach out to Josh directly. But I don't see any more questions coming in. So, again, we're just going to hold it a minute here. I think Frank may have even said hello, but I don't think he said much since nobody asked a whole lot of questions. But Frank, you're still with us, I guess?
Yes. Thanks for everybody for attending. There may be some of you may have a question about the professional services new item that SimpleWan is offering, and we just completely we're doing a pass through on that cost, and that cost is $350 per occurrence. Should I think once and let me say this. We have Corey, who most of you all have interacted with, who's been, through SimpleWan training, and we would, we look forward to working with you, before you needing to reach out to SimpleWan, and maybe we can answer or make you feel comfortable at, how to set it up, and we're here to provide those services for you. But should you want that extra mile of attention, maybe to questions, or then you can, we can coordinate getting that scheduled with SimpleWan for their professional services. Josh, what is the hours open, unlimited on that? It's till the job's done, or what is the framework for that offering?
There are no limitations. It is per location.
Okay. Yep. So I think, SkySwitch, with our experience, and we have over 700 boxes deployed now, and a lot of our resellers are very, we've had cases where, some of them it didn't fit the scenario, and that's where I think Josh pointed that out well, is, let's make sure we get it. It's a right fit for the use case. But after that, we've had a lot of success, and it's helped us tremendously with troubleshooting, especially ISP issues that may be causing call quality problems. So we've been doing it now we're offering SimpleWan for a couple of years now, and it's been getting better. And for those of you who aren't using it, and if you don't have an NFR unit, you can go to our doc site and get information on how to get an NFR unit and get it up and running, and do some testing with it. Those NFR units are discounted, and then also all the services on those are opened for at no charge for testing and so forth. The other thing I would like to tell you all is, for those of you who may have seen it or not, I sent out a notice yesterday for our 2018 pricing, and if there's any discussions on that, feel free to reach out to me at my desk, and I'll be glad to discuss those with you. But for the most part, you'll see that a lot of the services, monthly services fees, we actually lowered the rates on those, and there was a slight increase on the monthly monitoring service, and that was explained in that notice. But feel free to reach out to me if you want to discuss that. That will take effect February 1st of 2018.
Okay, and Frank, while you were talking, a whole slew of questions came in here, so let's go through these real quick. Ralph is asking, can you talk about SimpleWan DHCP provisioning to SkySwitch?
That is a highly technical question, way over Josh Hazelhorst's head. So let's schedule a call with either Corey at SkySwitch or myself and Kyle Todd at SimpleWan, and we can get those questions answered.
Okay, Sean is asking, what is the cost of, wait, my screen just moved. What is the cost of a customer premise appliance?
I'm sorry,
Frank,
what is the cost of what? Yeah, what is the cost of what?
Of the SimpleWan appliance.
We have them offered in our store. We offer them at $265, and there's a discount for volume purchases, and that can be found in the SkySwitch store through the Dash Manager. There's a pricing. There's a whole document in our skyswitch.alevio.help section. If you look up SimpleWan products and services, and it also explains how to acquire an NFR unit, and that has updated pricing in there for all the different products and services. One of the other things, Josh, if you want to talk on that, some of the resellers may very well be interested in, is the new LTE dongle that I know that you had a previous version. Now there's a newer version, and we have it listed in our products. We're getting that into our warehouse. We're going to be carrying some of those, and they seem to be working better than I think the version 1, from what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
let's talk.
That's a a lot of our resellers have asked for redundant backups and so forth for internet.
Sure.
I think this question is, Josh, there's a question up. It says, and I don't know if this relates to this, but do we now need a static IP address to do the failover? I've noticed that change when using LTE. That's from Alonzo.
Primary 1 needs to have a static IP, not necessarily for failover, but for failback. So when it fails over to either secondary WAN or 4G, we are constantly pinging the primary WAN connection for a period of 20 minutes until we see 100% stability before we fail back. What that alleviates is what we call brownout. I fail over as soon as, my connection, say I'm cradle point, my connection sees primary 1's backup, I'm going to fail back over. Well, what if it's not 100% stable? Then it's going to fail back, and then it's going to fail over. Well, if I'm doing fail over and fail back consistently like that, I still can't work, right? I'm still down for all intents and purposes. So we have to ping that primary circuit until we see 100% stability, and that is a 20-minute time frame. Then and only then will we fail back.
All right, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, and let's answer the dongle question. The reason why we went to the Wi-Fi bridge dongle is carriers, once they went with unlimited data plans, they started changing firmware on the 4G data sticks. We did have, in fact, if you look at SimpleWan support in our documents online and type in failover under support documents, it'll show you the 3 supported Wi-Fi data sticks that you can use on SimpleWan. A week ago, AT&T created a push firmware on their 341U dongles that now have a failover problem. So this creates support calls. So the reason why we went away from the 4G dongles and didn't embed SIM cards is because the carriers are consistently changing firmware to keep offices from using unlimited data on a cell plan to run an office. So we do the dongle. So the dongle is simply a bridge. Now all you have to do is go to any carrier you want and get a MiFi data card. It looks like the little credit card. And simply either turn it on when it fails or plug it into the secondary USB port and just leave it on. And that alleviated the whole SIM card and firmware chasing of the carriers.
Okay, it looks like an add-on to that. He's also asking, this is Alonzo again, is there anything we can do if a carrier does not offer a static IP on the primary? Can we use DYD DNS?
That is a technical engineering conversation for Corey at SkySwitch and or Kyle Todd at SimpleWan. There are workarounds. Don't know them, and I don't want to step on my tongue.
All right, Alonzo, you can ask those directly by sending, maybe Josh can help you send him an email, and he'll get you the right contact.
Send an email you can send an email to support and just direct it, tell them to direct it to Corey. I mean, they'll direct it to Corey anyway.
Okay. Ben asks, can you go over the advantages again to deploying SimpleWan to a single location?
Yeah, so if you're deploying SimpleWan in a single location, as long as that single location has adopted cloud services, if it's a single location, it's the problem with single locations. Most of them have old school legacy equipment, file servers, storage servers, their on-prem firewall, managed routers from the carrier, stuff like that. If you install SimpleWan in an environment like that, again, that firewall will block network analytics. However, if they have decided to, I'm getting rid of everything, I'm going Office 365 and SharePoint, and I'm doing cloud services, I'm getting rid of all of my on-prem stuff, but I still need all my firewall and security and compliance stuff, that is now a SimpleWan fit. So we just have to make sure in that single location that they're not trying to run SimpleWan inside an existing firewall environment. Think of SimpleWan as the managed router, the Sonic Wall firewall, the cradle point for 4G failover, and the SolarWinds for network management. We're that all in one device. So everything's kind of got to get out of our way.
Okay. They're still coming. Okay. So the new dongle that SkySwitch offers works with Verizon and T-Mobile. And is there something we can add for an antenna outside of the building when the signal is poor?
No, there are no external antennas that we as SimpleWan know of or support. The dongle is designed to get plugged into the back of the advanced 2 unit into the USB port. There is no interference because there is no antennas, there is no spinning disc, there is no anything. The only thing you have to do is get a MiFi card from whatever carrier you want, and that'll create that connectivity. If we're talking about external connectivity, now we're talking access point world, and that's fine too. SimpleWan does support all of the ubiquity access points as well as the switches. So you can do the managed wireless activation, and you can handle all that access point stuff.
Okay. Good. So the questions have slowed down. There's one more. It's kind of long from Nathan. Nathan, I'm going to email your question over to. It's a little bit too technical for me to read into the webinar here, but I just showed it to Josh, and maybe he can answer if he can find it on his panel. But otherwise, I'll email that over to them, and they'll get you back a little bit more in-depth answer than I think we can answer right here. So I think that's it. I don't see any more questions coming in. You will all be getting a copy of the recording Monday or Tuesday next week. This is the last one of these we'll be doing in this calendar year. Come back beginning of January, where we'll be hearing from, I believe, Tenfold and Compliance Solutions are both scheduled for January, so I hope you guys will register for that as well. And if there is anything else that we can do for you, please send that email over to support@SkySwitch. We'll be happy to help you. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great holiday season, and we will talk to you all real soon. Bye, everybody.
Yep. Thanks for your support, and have a happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks all.